What's up guys, and welcome to Cheesewood by Romandmitri. Today I want to show you how to build a barn door like this. This one's 12 feet tall and I'm about 5'8", so you can get an idea of scale. And actually I want to build a second one. It's actually going to take me a few days, but I want you guys to follow the entire process step by step. Just look how massive it is. That's incredible. Up here we got a rail from a Cannonball rail system, and it says you're supposed to put the brackets 2 feet apart, but I decided 16 inches off center right on the studs. What could be more perfect than that? We actually mounted this door a couple days ago, and I'd say it weighs close to 200 pounds. Actually, it wasn't that hard. Used a couple of the wall jacks to get it up there, and it's pretty sweet. By the end of the video, we'll hang the second one, and you'll see exactly how we did that. The back panel is made out of reclaimed lumber, and the outer frame is made out of rough pine from Home Depot, and I think it came out really good with that early American stain. The same stuff that I used for the faux beams in my other video. This has been really fun for me to work on, and that's why I want to make a video about making the second door. Seriously guys, look how massive it is. All the hardware you see is from Princess Auto. It's the Cannonball barn door hardware. And well, it's shiny right now, but I think in about a year or so, we're gonna paint it all black. Why don't I show you a close-up, and after that, we can get started. This is a massive door. How freaking awesome is that? I can't wait to make the second one. Well, all right, bros and hoes, let's get in the garage and get to work. First thing we want to do is gather all of our materials. To my right, I have a stack of lumber that's been processed through the solar oven. It's reclaimed lumber from the old barn that we used to have here. Let me just clean up my work area, and then I can start piling the useful wood on the side. Oh yes, the Tommy Bahama chairs, very nice. They are super comfortable. Our special guest today is the DWHT 38116 16-foot measuring tape from DeWalt. That's 11 5/8 wide and just under 10 feet long. So that gives us an 8-piece. Excuse me. Okay. All right, so I got a full stack behind me. I got about 6 solid pieces, and then I got 3 questionable pieces that we're gonna use for the thinner 4-inch members. Take a closer look. This wood is really amazing up close. Just look at all that detail. That's years and years of history, and we're gonna make a door out of it. So I think my goal for today is gonna be just to get that wood laid down for you, and we'll just cut it to the right width so that way it's ready to go for tomorrow. This piece here is quite beautiful. It doesn't matter which side we cut on, but first we have to make sure that we know the minimum length that we can cut to. So let's measure it every foot or two and figure that out. 11 5/8, 11 5/8, 11 5/8, 11 3/4. So the minimum is gonna be 11 5/8. Just like the last video, I'll be using a track saw to make these cuts. It's a DeWalt track saw. The DCS 520, and I absolutely love it and use it almost all the time. DeWalt. So that's one side, success. To cut the second side, we'll want to measure 11 1/8, about a foot apart, and then lay our track saw down. Technically, I can get away with putting the measurements on either corner, but just in case I'm sleeping at the wheel, I want to make sure that I didn't mess anything up. For this, I'll use my Milwaukee marker because DeWalt doesn't make any, so go Team Red. On my left here, I'm actually off by 1/8. So what's off with my measurement? Let's double check it. Okay, well that's kind of funny because I actually put 11 1/4 there and then 11 1/8 everywhere else. This actually rarely happens, but I'm glad that it did, so I can explain to you the reasoning of putting more than 2 tick marks. Awesome. Okay, we got this piece done. It's cut evenly. It's parallel on both sides all the way across, thanks to the DeWalt track saw. The DCS 520. Now I gotta do that about 6 more times, so let's speed it up a little. In about half an hour, I managed to cut 5 pieces to the right width. That means we're looking at 6 minutes a piece. Keep that in mind if you want to plan to do this yourself. As far as preparing the reclaimed timber, that's pretty good for now. We got everything the right width and we'll cut it to the length later. This means our next step is to build the frame. The frame consists of basically a 2-inch contour and then a 4-inch trim around the top. Those glued together, that new wood will hold pretty strong, and then we put all of the reclaimed lumber against that. First thing we want to do is get some pretty strong pieces. I have 2 planks of rough pine here already. They're 1 by 12 by 12 feet long and cost about $33 each. In fact, they're the same pieces of pine that I use for the foam beams that you see upstairs. Check out my other video for that. Good morning, guys. It's now Saturday at about 6:20 a.m. Number 1 goal right now is get that subframe complete, put the glue on it, and wait a little. The first thing I'm going to do is go to Tim Hortons and grab a coffee. Next, I'm going to prepare the lumber for the subframe. I need to keep cutting 2-inch, 3-inch, and 4-inch pieces, so I'll see you in the future. 7:56 a.m. and I've got most of my wood cut and ready to go. Welcome and take a look at my wares. So for my next trick, I'm going to want to clean up this entire area and get it ready for building the subframe. This is going to be a massive door, so I'm going to need all the space I can get. Okay, well, that's a good start. It's a 12-foot door, so we're gonna want a couple horses 12 feet apart, and then I'll put a couple more here to almost complete a rectangle. I'm gonna lay some planks on my horses just so that we're not completely touching. Also, these will help us elevate and balance, as we'll be using shims or wedges to make sure that everything's completely level. That way the door isn't warped once it's finished. Now that's what I call progress. Next, we need to lay down our pieces. So now, one at a time, I'm going to cut them to the exact length and specifications. Hell yeah. Let's go take a closer look to figure out how we're going to connect the subframe. Oh, got it in my ass. So these two we can connect with screws or even pocket screws. But what I'm gonna do is use the DF500 domino joiner because I'm slightly paranoid. Realistically, this is overkill and you don't need to do this. The DF500 domino joiner is essentially a biscuit joiner on steroids. It costs about 10 times more, but it's a lot more accurate. For those that have one or are curious, I'll be using the 6x40 biscuits, so 20 millimeters on each side, and we're good to go. The subframe is approximately 1x2 actual dimension, so these will fit just right. The DF500 domino joiner. It's a great tool and it's fun for the whole family. The fun starts by marking off the middle of where you want to be joining. Same goes for the underside. We'll be connecting like this. And we'll do that at all 4 corners. Confirm the knob position. Confirm the depth. Confirm the thickness. Lower that thing. Then line up and make your cut. Once you've done all 4 corners, you have to do a fit test. Do not skip the fit test. Dry fit, make sure it all goes in like it's supposed to. The other corners look a lot better, I promise. How's that? It's 9:02 a.m. and I'm starting the glue. You know what? Let me show you up close real quick. Sweet, right? Now I'm gonna go do the same thing in the back 2 corners. It's 10 a.m. now. The glue should be good to go, so I'm gonna start taking the clamps off and getting ready for the next step. What I'm gonna wanna do next is take all these 4-inch planks and cut them to 16 inches long and attach them to all the corners. I'm using these deck screws to get the job done, and they're gonna be just right. Our total thickness is about 1 3/4, so if we don't go in too deep, you won't even notice them. All the screws are going in from the back, and this piece alone is gonna end up with quite a few of them. I recently got myself the DCF 870, the quiet hydraulic impact driver from DeWalt, and I really love it. This lets me use it all day long and none of my neighbors can hear me. Now I can have my garage door wide open and still use this at 4 in the morning. It's 10:30 now and we got all 4 corners installed. I made sure that they're perfectly square. And here's what the screw looks like from the underside. Just 5 screws for now, nothing too crazy, but that's progress. The next thing we want to do before going any further is to make sure that our entire surface is level. Otherwise, by the time we're screwing things together, we're going to end up with a warped door, and we don't want that. To do this, I'm going to have to figure out the lowest point in my life, the lowest point on the door, and size everything off from there. Actually, let's start with the highest point, raise that up a little bit, and then the rest can follow. Okay, so back here it's quite low. It's almost like 1 inch too low. So I'll need to raise it up quite a bit. Same thing in this corner. Well, isn't it great that I cleaned up earlier and I cut all these little scraps to about 6 or 8 inches so I can just use them to wedge right under. Okay, wow, so that's pretty nice. I couldn't have done it better myself. The first time I built my door, it kept getting heavier and I needed to move these pieces of wood around just to be able to screw into some places. But as I was doing that, all the little dinkers that I put in to level this thing kept falling out. It was quite messy here, so when they fell on the floor, I had no idea which pieces to put back in. So this time around, I'm actually gonna bundle them up, tape them, and maybe even label them, even if it's just one piece, like that corner, for example. Let me show you what they look like. There's a great example in the back corner here. It's actually 3 separate pieces that we're gonna wanna bundle up. So for the purpose of labeling, let's call this way north, east, south, and west. This makes this the southeast corner. Mentos, the fresh maker. Now let's do that everywhere else. Great stuff, guys. Go team. I've just labeled all of them. The next step is to install the 4-inch trim all around the outside. I want to show off that this is rough pine, and if you look closely here, you can see a pretty large discrepancy in the thickness, and that's what happens. Me, I'm going to sand all this smooth later, but if you're planning to do a different approach, you're going to want to plane these or do something else to make sure they line up. Right now I have this piece clamped, and what I'm going to do is just screw it in about 8 to 12 inches apart. So through the power of TV magic, our trim actually is ready to go. And next we'll have to start working on the inner components. It's 11:24 and I'm starving, so I'm gonna take a lunch break. I'm back, it's 12:03, so now we're gonna start getting into some fun stuff. So when I say fun stuff, I mean taking that reclaimed lumber and cutting it down to the right size. The key point for me is having the top be as strong as possible. So I'm gonna put 2 8-footers at the 2 upper right corners. That's gonna transfer all of that weight across the upper frame, then down to the bottom. At least so I hope. To get this right, we'll have to find our strongest pieces. That means no cracks down the middle. Perfect. We got 1 plank 8 feet in this corner, and we got another plank in the upper left. Next, I'm gonna screw those in. Okay, 12:30 now, and I just finished screwing the perimeter of these 2 8-foot boards. It's fucking hot in here. But you know what? It's all sturdy. Next step, let's cut the horizontal beam for the upper third to hold these in place. Hooray, we did it. This guy right here. Now I gotta screw him in. 12:43, I have screwed this piece in. Next, I need to make 4 1/4 inch strips of the reclaimed lumber to put right next to these big 8-footers. I won't expect any structural integrity from these strips. They're really there just to fill in the gaps. Let's get a support piece underneath so we don't cut this nice pine we've already installed. Let's measure 4 1/4 inches. 4 1/4 is pretty tight, but that's the way she goes, Bubbles. The DCE 100, great to have around the house. I have 2, and I gave one to my mom. Hooray, 4 1/4 inches, because that's perfect. It's 1:03 p.m. now. Those are in, and just like that, the middle beam is installed. I have the upper section complete, so I'm gonna come over here and start installing the 4 foot tall, wide and thin planks. By the way, it's 1:23 p.m. Now we need 2 thinner ones. This looks like a piece as good as any. We only need 4 inches. Mark it off. Sweet, let's just skip ahead. So it's 2 o'clock right on the dot. Now we're gonna need another wide plank, thin plank, and wide plank. If you haven't realized it yet, building a barn door like this is easily a 20-hour commitment. This door is 12 feet tall and 5 foot wide, and it's already Saturday afternoon. It'll take me until Sunday afternoon to finish this. 2:24 p.m. I just got the middle planks and they're ready to be installed. We got 8 footers on the bottom and 4 footers on the top. 2:48 p.m. and I just finished installing the 2 wide middle planks. All I have to do now is install the last piece that goes down the middle. It'll be 8 feet up top and 4 feet down at the bottom. 3:41 p.m. and I got the middle plank in. How freaking awesome is that? I'm really happy with what we've gotten ourselves into. This thing is massive. Next step is to get those 3-inch cross members in. We're gonna make 3 X's, 1 in each of the squares. Let's get to it. I got the first one in, now I'm gonna do the rest. 4:05 p.m. I got enough to do the major pieces, but I need to make 6 more smaller pieces to go in between them, which means I literally just need to go to Home Depot and grab a 6-foot piece of 1x12. First thing tomorrow morning. Good morning, Cambridge. It's now 6:52 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and I need to get some rough pine so I can finish these cross planks. So I'll be right back. Bonjour, I'm back from the store. I got my 6-foot pieces. Let's make some 3-inch strips. Excellent. Excellent. Hey, that's great. I just realized I made way too many. I only needed 3. Doi. The silver lining is I could probably use these for some other project, and now I can pick the best 3. Amazing. So now that I have both my pieces sized right for the first square, it's very important that we mark off where those lines are supposed to cross each other. If we don't do that, you'll have a much tougher time squaring them up afterwards. I just marked the piece underneath, and now I'm gonna swap them so I can mark where to cut this piece off in half. So let's swap them back again, put the right piece in the right place. Good. And now I need to cut this one in half and take a bit out the middle. How freaking awesome is that? A perfect cross. Let's take a closer look. So I'm very happy with the way that's turning out. Now I'm gonna do the other 2 using the same concept. 8:23 folks, all the crosses have been cut and they're in place. They haven't been screwed in yet because I still need to stain them. So for the next step, we're just gonna take 80 grit orbital sander and just go over the surface to make sure it's all smooth and ready to take on that stain. The sanding isn't necessary, but I want a bit of a lighter look, as I've described in my faux beam video. So to achieve that, we're just gonna get a smooth surface. The DCW 210 orbital sander from DeWalt. It's sick. 837. Yeah, I should wear a mask. Anyway, it's 8:53. That took a hot minute. I've sanded everything smooth. The next logical step is to stain all the cross members and screw them into place. She's pretty. Okay, so for stain, I'll be using Early American. It's the same stuff that I used on the beams up here. I typically use these snakeskin gloves when I stain, but really anything will do as long as it protects your hands from getting all nasty. And my right hand will be my wet hand, and then I'll have the dry stuff in my left hand so I can wipe that stain off right away. The look I'm going for, it's literally just on and off. Also, this will save a lot of wait time for drying, stuff like that. Let's start with the top corner here. Always stir it up when you use it. There's a lot of pigment gunk on the bottom that you're gonna wanna mix evenly with the fluid on top. For these pieces, we only really need to do the sides that are exposed. So just like that, on and off, real quick, and we got the exact color we want. Now I just gotta do the sides. Perfect. What I like about this project is it's a barn door. It's gonna be outside, and variety is actually a good thing. So let me work on the rest while you time travel. Sick. It's 9:22 a.m. and I've finished staining all three crosses. Next, I need to screw them all in. This part's a little annoying because you need to basically aim from the underside and you need to clamp it from above such that you don't leave a gap between the planks and the new crosses. For me, I take the 6-foot DeWalt level that I have and I clamp it from above. Then when I come in from the underside, I simply push the plank up as I screw it in. I also have a blue drywall square, which kind of helped me measure and gauge from the sides. But on the second door, I'm just gonna YOLO it. Be back in a few. 10:25 a.m. I had to run out and get another box of 500 screws. So we're looking at just over 250 screws per door. Next, I'm gonna take out the horizontal panels and stain those. Sick. And just like that, we are back in place. Next, I'll do the top one. 10:59 a.m. and I just finished all the horizontal pieces. Next, we'll do the verticals, starting with the 4 corners and then the 2 main sides. Okay. 11:15 a.m. and I just finished the corners. Dun, dun, dun. Sick. 11:35 a.m. and I got the vertical pieces completed. Next, I gotta take care of all the pine in the back here. This includes going underneath and around, but that's just a quick and dirty. I'm actually gonna take the door off, flip it, and maybe do it on my driveway. This means it's time for my big boy gloves. Get these for about $1 at Home Depot. Jesus. Well, that wasn't so bad. Success. 11:48. Let's get that stain on. Let's flip it upside down. Jesus. 11:59 a.m. It's flipped. I'll take care of this on my own. You don't need to watch that. Sweet. 12:05 and the stain part is completely over. So next we got to do the hardware, but first I'm taking a break. 12:18 break over. Let's talk about the hardware real quick. I got this stuff at Princess Auto. This is for real farmers to use on their real barns. The Cannonball HNP trolley hanger. This goes into the rail and there's a screw that hangs down or a bolt. And this guy goes on the door. It's just under 4 inches wide and that's actually why I'm using 4-inch trim. Then there's a bag of bolts. Essentially you got 3 through the front and 1 down the top that connects to the trolley. And off you go. Sick. 1:27 p.m. and we just hung the second door. I spared you the details and the struggles, but it actually went by really quick because we used the DeWalt jacks, which are sick, and it's already hanging up. So the last thing I have to do before I show you the complete package is simply adding one of these stoppers to the side. It's gonna go right to the side here and prevent the door from opening wider than it should. At the top, there's also a bit of a safety stopper, but this one here is the real deal. This is the heavy duty stopper. So here's the bracket that we need to install to prevent the door from moving around. And here's the back plate I have. It's just an extra spare piece of siding. Shit guys, Alfred Shitcocks. I need 3 of these to get the hardware installed, but I only have 1 for some reason, so I guess I'm going to Princess Auto. I'll be right back. 2:23 p.m. I'm back from Princess Auto with 5 of these. Let's get this shit done. Fuck. Alfred Shitcocks again. So that's what happens when you rush. I drilled the pilot hole 1 size too small and the wood cracked, so now I'm gonna do that all over again, and we'll just skip ahead. 2:45 p.m. and we're done. That feels good. And I haven't even stepped back yet to take a complete look myself, but oh, those are some nice looking doors. Let's keep going. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted. Amazing. Okay, let's close them and see what that looks like. Ta-da! I think that's pretty sick. I'm so happy that it's done. Amazeballs, guys. Thank you for watching. That turned out exactly as planned, and I hope you enjoyed the process as much as I did. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them below.